our Chief Enforcement, Kendall Bonebreak, to the table up here.
Good
morning, Chief
Chair,
Bonebreak.
Commissioners. Good morning.
Do I start?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Good morning, Chief. I'm going to make a comment. It's not that I am very happy that we're pursuing this kind of cases where local agencies are crossing the line. And, I think by pursuing these cases, we're in a way teaching local agencies how to do things. But the one that I am concerned and is so glaring to me has been throughout all these cases, the basic illegality of using taxpayers' money. I know we don't have the authority because only it's for campaign reports, but it's just has continued to bother me that we, and I don't know if the word is ignoring, but kind of not dealing with it because we don't have the authority. I mean, I remember from my many years of at law school, and I think I'm right, is that when you want something illegally, like gambling, you have to either, I think, as I recall, return the winnings, I don't know, to where. And I don't know if we can do something about having them reimburse the money that they use for the so-called campaign to the, to the budget, or even the winnings. I mean, that will shock them if you were to put, the big $20 million that they win into as a criminal thing. So this is just a comment because I have been very concerned about that basic illegality of using taxpayers' money. That's it.
Any other comments from commissioners?
Yes.
Commissioner Brandt?
So I have a related concern, but it is these two, both actually 4 and 5, that it's just becoming a cost of business. We'll pay a fine and move on, and because it's worth it. I mean, they potentially could have gotten over time millions of dollars, but it just seems like this one hit me as, yeah, we did that, and I don't know what we do about that. I mean, I don't know whether I think it's disgorgement is the concept,
Yeah,
which is, but I think that's going to need a change in statute, and I don't know what the answer is, Ms. Nakano. But I think we just need to keep watching these and keep seeing what they do. I mean, I saw Norco, has challenged us on those things, and they think that they follow the law. This one, I don't see how. I mean, they just did it, and so I don't know what the answer is. But I did want to comment on these that and the sheriffs, their Committee for Transparent Justice, and I don't know, just kind of. Anyway, they're tying it to that kind of thing. I mean, it's a different issue, but nevertheless, it just seems like we're hiding who's on these things and the disclosure of it. I mean, that one kind of got me because and these are law enforcement officers. They're enforcing the law, and yet they're violating the law. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm good with them. I'm going to vote with them, but I think it's something we need to watch for enforcement on figure out what the answer is.
Yeah,
because I think it's becoming more and more just accepted. Okay, yeah, we'll get a $50,000 fine and we'll pay it with taxpayer money, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah, I've raised that issue before because in the risks balance, if I'm going to get a penalty of $25,000, but I'm going to get $20 million from that, I'm going to take the risk knowing that it's just a slap and going back to also the illegality of money.
Right.
So,
Commissioner Wilson?
I think Commissioner Brandt and Commissioner Ortiz covered the key point. But if you are going to be fined $50,000 and you potentially will get millions of dollars in your treasury, and you're not personally responsible for that violation, the taxpayers are actually footing the bill. And I think that's a key point. I think if you had general counsels and city council members and other elected officials personally liable, which they are not under current statute, I think they'd think twice before they would violate the mass mailing prohibition. But a fine that you pay with taxpayer dollars, no big deal. It's the price of doing business is how it can be viewed by some people.
So one approach, and I think we're moving kind of towards a legislative proposal, or at least legislative research here, but I think since we have the conversation started, we should keep going. I think one approach that I think is effective is something that's being implemented or proposed in legislation by Assemblymember Rhodesia Ransom in regards to public advertisements at the public expense that are in large format, so billboards, that sort of thing. And as I understand it, that legislation explicitly says where an elected official or public official is involved with the approval, with the process of publishing these advertisements, that they are going to be liable for that fine as well. So we don't, as a commission, have to go through the aiding and abetting argument of trying to extend that liability. I think that is a great approach. I think that's at the very least a good first step to having political actors think a little bit harder before they sign off on a potentially illegal communication. The other thing that's worth noting here is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, all violations of the act can be prosecuted criminally as a misdemeanor. So there's also the option for local law enforcement to pursue these as well. And maybe we should be engaging with them and indicating the impact that these sort of situations have on public trust.
But would the violation of using illegal money be under the FPPC purview?
So
No.
go ahead.
Actually, it sounds like these are really interesting ideas for legislative proposals for next year. So how about the staff takes these ideas and presents to you what is possible, what is in the realm of possibility legislatively, and give you some options? Because right now, no, the actual use of the money is not under the FPPC, and that is something the FPPC's commission has for many years toyed with the idea of trying to get the liability for that to be included. Because right now we prosecute the filing and the transparency portion of it, but not the actual use of the money. And so we can include some of the ideas that have come up about the liability, about the disgorgement, the different options that have been presented, and give you guys a good write-up that you can consider which direction you'd want to go if you still want to go that way.
In that case, I'm going to throw out another idea. It's more on the sheriff's one. But, and I know both of these lost, right? But maybe we need to have something in the law that says during the campaign, as soon as it's found that, and they're not disclosing or whatever, that needs to be put out to, the press so that the voters can say, well, if they're going to do that, then I don't want them spending my money. I mean, something along those lines to perhaps affect the outcome so that they not only risk the outcome. I mean, in some ways, the Sonoma County measure failed, and, and I don't know whether, probably, I don't know. I mean, they didn't disclose that it was the sheriffs. It was the ones who were most at risk, which may tell you, I don't know. Anyway. So
You touch on a lot of things that commission has thought about over the years. I mean, for instance, the campaign ad section of it, we tried to get a database where you have to file your campaign ads so that it can be reviewed pretty quickly. Everybody can see who's sending what. And even if the disclosure is not perfect, it's in this database that everyone can see where the ads are. And unfortunately, that was never funded by the legislature. So it didn't happen. And it was something it was too big for us to take on ourselves without financing. So these are all great ideas that we can revisit and we can look at again and see if we can find, because, what's the issue with that? The issue with all these local elections, trying to get the information from them immediately when ads go out or when flyers go out or when glossy mailers go out. There has to be a way for there to be a quicker resolution for us actually finding out about the violations to begin with. So all these are great ideas, and we can pursue them. We can look into them.
Excellent. I'd recommend perhaps we start at an L&P to discuss it. What are your
I
thoughts?
suppose so. We did talk about that at the last LNP meeting about how legislation may be the topic of the next committee meeting in the fall. So
Okay.
yes, I'm fine with that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But,
good.
you know, Law and Policy Committee, but we'd like, you know, we appreciate all the commissioners' engagement on this, and really it may be helpful, even though it's a committee of two I don't know, maybe, yeah, anyway. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Say, your committee does such a great job. We'll just wait to hear what recommendations you make.
Oh, please.
We can confirm with Senior Commission Counsel Nakano, but I believe the general ideas for next year are presented at the November commission meeting, so LMP would be around October.
Okay.
So do I make the motion to approve the rest of the consent?
I just have one additional comment before we get to that point, and that's, you know, I want to compliment enforcement staff on each one of these steps, but I want to, in particular, note number 5, which you pointed out, Commissioner Brandt. That sort of fact pattern that's laid out in that stipulation is a particularly difficult fact pattern, in my experience in enforcement, to investigate and then prosecute. So I just want to compliment, let's see who was involved in this one, Neil Bucknell and Kristen Hamilton, who is the investigator, Bucknell being the commission counsel who worked on this case. Thank you for your hard work on this case. And go ahead. I don't have any additional comment on any of the items on the consent calendar. Any other
Okay.
comment from commissioners?
I move to approve
Oh, yeah.
all the items on the consent calendar. Oh,
Second, but we'll take public comment first before we move for a vote.